Hi, writers. So today, instead of writing a new story or learning something else about how to write better fiction stories, we're going to work on editing the stories we've already written. Authors edit all their work because it's really important to check and reread your story to make sure you have words spelled correctly, you have sentences that start with capitals and end with periods, and that your sentences are organized and not missing any words so that everyone who's reading your story can really understand what you're trying to say and have an okay time creating a picture in their mind of whatever is happening in your story. So today I'm going to go over with you how an author would edit their story. Here we go. So on Fridays, we're going to become editors for a day. Now, editing is actually a job. There are people who grow up and become editors, and as their job every day, they read other people's stories and they check for capitals, organization, punctuation, and spelling. It's their whole entire job, and it's an important job. It's really important that after you write your story, you reread it to make sure that your writing makes sense and sounds right. If your writing doesn't make sense or sound right, no one is going to understand it, right? So it's very important to always reread your story. And it doesn't just mean reread it and check it once. Good authors, expert authors, famous authors reread over and over and over and check again and again and again to make sure their story is perfect. What do writers notice and fix when they edit? Well, they call the cops. The C stands for did you capitalize? The O stands for did you organize the words correctly? Are your words in the right order, or are you missing words? P stands for did you punctuate? Did you put a period, a question mark, an exclamation mark, depending on what kind of sentence it is? And S stands for did you check the spelling of each word, right? You're checking to see if it sounds right, if you have capitals, if words are left out, if you have punctuation and correct spelling. Don't let your brain trick you. Sometimes you'll read what you want it to say, but you won't really see what you actually wrote. That's when your brain gets tricked and thinks that everything is perfect and doesn't let you see the mistakes that might be there. So when you're editing your stories, you really have to look at your story like a detective. Read each word slowly and carefully and make sure you copsed and included all those important things that your sentences and story needs. Let's break it down into each step. Capitalization. Did you start each sentence with a capital letter? Or do you have one big long sentence? A lot of times when we're writing, we just keep writing, typing, and we forget to put a period or start a sentence with a capital letter. So it's important that you check and reread to make sure you don't just have one big long sentence. Let's look at an example. Here's a sentence. Rexy wanted go to the beach. He asked she said yes. Okay, so I already know that there's a lot of things wrong with this sentence, but since we're working on capitalization right now, let's just figure out where the capital should go, right? First, we know that Rexy wanted go to the beach is one sentence. So the R in Rexy should be capitalized. But I feel like this is two sentences. It shouldn't be one big long sentence. This is two sentences. Rexy wanted to go to the beach, and then he asked she said yes. That's two different sentences. So I think he also needs to be capitalized. So I'm going to change this to a capital R for Rexy and a capital H for he. This shows me that I have two sentences here, not just one big long sentence. Now let's move on to organization. Does your writing say what you want it to say? Or are your sentences missing words, right? This is where you have to really read each sentence carefully and not just read what you think you want it to say or what you know you want it to say, but really read what you wrote. Let's look at our example again. Now, if I read this the way that I wanted it to be read, I would read, Rexy wanted to go to the beach. He asked his mom, she said yes, right? Because I know that's what I wanted to say, that's how I'm reading this, even though That's not what this says. My brain is getting tricked because I know I wanted to say Rexy wanted to go to the beach. He asked his mom. She said yes. I know that's what I wanted to say. But if we really read this carefully, that's not what it says. So watch how I really read carefully. Rexy wanted go to the beach. He asked his, she said yes. I'm actually missing some words in this sentence, in both of these sentences. It should be Rexy wanted to go to the beach. Right here, I'm missing the word to. And then he asked his mom. There should be the word mom here. And she said yes. So here it should be mom and. So I'm going to change this sentence to Rexy wanted to go to the beach. He asked his mom and she said yes. Now my sentences are organized. They're not missing any words and they say exactly what I want them to say. Let's move on to punctuation. How do you want your book to be read? How should others read your book? When should they make their voice sound like they're asking a question? Or when should they use an exciting voice because they're excited about something? Or when should they just talk normally and pause at the end of a sentence? Periods show where you want readers to pause. So as you reread your story, notice where you naturally pause and make sure that there's a period there. Because if you naturally pause, there should be a period there. Because the way we talk is the way we write. Where should readers use a question voice, right? Check all your sentences. Is this sentence a question sentence? Is it asking something? If it's asking something, make sure you put a question mark at the end of it so the reader knows to make their voice sound like they're asking a question. And where should readers use an excited voice, right? Where should the reader show excitement in their voice and show that they're really happy about something, right? Or maybe that they're screaming something, right? Or shouting something. That's when you use an exclamation point. Let's look at our example sentence and figure out where the punctuation needs to go. Rexy wanted to go to the beach. He asked his mom and she said yes. So I kind of paused twice here. I'm going to read it again. Notice where I pause naturally when I'm reading it. Rexy wanted to go to the beach. That's one time. He asked his mom and she said yes. That's a second time. So I paused after the word beach and I paused after the word yes. Rexy wanted to go to the beach. He's not really excited about that. Or maybe he is, but he could just be saying it. So I think I'm going to put a period there. Then he asked his mom and she said yes. He's kind of just telling me something. So I think there's also supposed to be a period there. So here's how I edited my sentence. I added a period after beach and I added a period after yes. Now my sentence, both of them make sense. Rexy wanted to go to the beach. He asked his mom and she said yes. Awesome. Let's move on to the last letter, S, which stands for spelling. Can you read your words? Did you read the sounds that you wrote after you wrote and spelled the word? Make sure that when you're spelling words, friends, that you tap out the sounds and you spell the sounds that you hear, right? In the word cat, it's k-a-t, cat, right? In the word shred, it's shred, shred. Use your fingers to tap and spell your words. Let's look back at our sentence. Rexy wanted to go to the beach. He asked his mom and she said yes. So I'm really going to look at these words. Rexy looks like it's spelled okay. Wanted looks like it's spelled okay. To go to the looks okay. Beach looks okay. So far we're okay in the first sentence. Let's keep going. He looks okay. Asked. I wanted to say asked, and it looks like it has all the right letters, but if I read this the way that I wrote it, it sounds like axed, axed. That's not how you say the word. So this is spelled wrong. Let me keep going and see what else is spelled wrong. His is spelled okay, mom, and she, that all looks good. Said. If I read these sounds, it does say said, but it doesn't look right. I've seen the word said before, and that doesn't seem like how it looks. So I think that asked is definitely spelled wrong, and so is said. So here's how I fixed my sentence. I switched the S and the K in asked to make it asked. And I changed the E to an AI because I remember that's what that word looks like, S-A-I-D. Now my sentences are edited and perfect and ready to read. Rexy wanted to go to the beach. He asked his mom and she said yes. Awesome. So writers can edit for a lot of things. We can edit for end punctuation like we talked about. We can also, if we have a list in our story like you can buy cupcakes, cookies, tarts, and cakes. They're listing all the different things you can buy. So they're separating each thing with a comma. You also need to make sure that if you used a contraction in your writing, like can't or won't or didn't, that you use an apostrophe to show that it's a contraction, right? We already talked about capital letters and missing words by checking for organization. We talked about spelling patterns and spelling words correctly. So today, boys and girls, you are all going to become editors. Reread and edit the fiction stories you've written so far. Do your sentences make sense, sound right, and look right? Make sure to COPS all your sentences, okay? You have 6 stories by now that you've written, okay? And I'm gonna make sure that they all are sent back to you as drafts. So I need you to read every single one of them and make sure you edit them to make sure that they have capitals, organization, punctuation, and spelling. Today, you are going to become editors. All right, friends. Happy editing, and I'll see you guys all later. Bye.